Nutty Putty. Though it may sound playful, this cave is a labyrinth of tight twists, narrow passages, and dangerous turns. For many, Nutty Putty was a thrilling adventure. But in November 2009, this unassuming cave became the scene of a tragic event that would leave an unforgettable mark on the caving world. Discovered in 1960, Nutty Putty Cave quickly became a popular spot for spelunkers, both amateur and experienced. Known for its claustrophobic passages, such as the birth canal and the Scout Eater, it was a test of both mental and physical endurance. For years, adventurers enjoyed its challenges, but it also posed serious risks, especially for those who underestimated its complexity and came unprepared. The cave, however, had a history of close calls. In 2004, it was temporarily closed due to safety concerns after several cavers became trapped. But by 2009, it had reopened, drawing in thrill seekers once again. On the evening of November 24, 2009, 26-year-old John Edward Jones entered Nutty Putty Cave with his brother and a group of friends. It was a family tradition for the Joneses, who had explored many caves together. John, a medical student and father, was no stranger to caving. But that night, things took a tragic turn. As John made his way through the cave, he found himself in a tight, vertical passage that he believed led to the birth canal. But in reality, it was an uncharted area. As he attempted to wriggle his way through, John became stuck upside down and trapped in a crevice barely wide enough for his body. The first person to find John in this position was his brother Josh. Josh tried to pull John up and out of the tunnel, but this effort proved to be futile, as this caused John to become wedged in the narrow crevice even more. This time, one of his hands was pinned underneath him, and the other was forced backward. The only thing sticking out of the crevice now was John's feet and ankles. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Josh assured John and rushed for help. The first rescuer to arrive was a woman named Susie Motola, and by the time she got to John at 12:30 a.m., John had been trapped for 3 hours, 400 feet into the cave and 100 feet underground. As Susie introduced herself to John, he responded, "Hi, Susie. Thanks for coming, but I really want to get out of here." Over the next few hours, dozens of rescuers arrived at the scene and brainstormed different ideas to help free John. The cave was so narrow that only lean and flexible individuals could fit and maneuver through the tight passages. And to add insult to injury, only one person could be with John at a time, making things even more challenging. As the hours ticked by the rescuers' teams, frustration grows and their options seem to dwindle. And with John's arms and legs immobilized, it became a race against time to keep him alive. The initial attempt of using climbing cams was unsuccessful, so they switched to another method, and that was installing a pulley system. Rescuers decided to feed the rope through pulleys that were bolted to the wall of the cave. Again, this was an agonizingly slow process because of how narrow the cave was. John's condition began to worsen. Human body is not meant to be in such a state for long. The human body is designed to pump blood upward to the brain, counteracting gravity when we stand upright. However, when inverted, blood accumulates in the brain and the heart struggles to pump it away efficiently. This increased demand on the heart, combined with the blood pooling in the brain, becomes overwhelming. Over time, the strain on the heart and the buildup of blood in the brain can prove fatal. As time went on, John started to have difficulty breathing and was alternating back and forth in his desperate efforts to somehow free himself from this plight. Around this time, a two-way radio was brought into the cave and lowered down to John so that he could communicate with his wife. His wife comforted him and assured that he will be out with the help of rescuers. Finally, rescuers finished drilling the holes and attaching the pulleys into the walls of the cave. 8 men then took control of the rope, working in perfect tandem, and began pulling John out of the crevice. Each pull is met with excruciating pain, and John's legs were in so much pain that the rescue team had to give him frequent breaks while pulling him up. although the progress was slow going, but still he was being pulled up some inches. After one final rest, the rescuers pulled John up once again, when all of a sudden a disaster struck. The rope snapped. A stone arch holding the rope shatters, and the nearest key bolt breaks off, hitting John's closest rescuer, Ryan, in the face. The entire team fell backwards, and John had slid deeper back into the crevice. A new rescuer took his place in desperate attempts to reach John. The clock is ticking, and the odds seem stacked against them. The new rescuer realized that John was barely breathing and had become unresponsive. He had gone into cardiac arrest. The rescuers collected themselves just outside the narrowest part near Ed's push to discuss their options. Since John wasn't responding, they decided to send a medical professional inside the cave to figure out if John had passed away. At 11:56 on November 25, John was pronounced dead. As the heart-breaking reality sunk in, the rescuers were forced to leave empty-handed. Around 137 rescuers worked tirelessly for 27 grueling hours, but were unable to retrieve his body from the treacherous cave. The Nutty Putty cave becomes his eternal resting place, as authorities realized that it would not be worth risking others' lives if they tried to pull his body out of the cave. In the aftermath, the cave was permanently closed to the public, and opening of the cave was sealed with concrete. A plaque was installed at the cave entrance honoring his adventurous soul. The Nutty Putty Cave incident serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers inherent in caving and the deadly allure that these underground formations possess. Stay safe and keep venturing.